Hello. Hey there, everybody. How you guys doing? Trying to make sure my Led Zeppelin is not bleeding into the stream. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I think we're good. Wow. Wow, it's good to see all of you. We got 91 people watching, 92 people watching, but only 47 likes. You already know what to do, man. You already know what you need to do. I need you to drone strike the like button. Now, actually, first thing, just before we get started, how about this? Here are some links that you can donate to. Give me a second. I'm going to pause this music just to be safe. So you guys already know what's happening in Yemen. I mean, it's the largest man-made humanitarian crisis on the face of this planet. The war crimes, the atrocities that the Saudi-led coalition are committing there with the use of French, British, Canadian, American bombs. It's just atrocious. It's you know, I'm not even going to show you the pictures, but you should look at them so you understand the gravity of it. And just here are some links that you could donate to. So Share the Meal is actually not just for Yemen. This one's really great because it's so easy to use. They have an app for it as well. It's also from the UN, it's from the World Food Program. And you can donate on the site directly, or there's an app for it as well. And you can choose how much you want to donate, and it tells you how many meals it's going to provide. And then, of course, you have these other links also from the United Nations. Okay, so this is from the UNHCR, and this one's from UNICEF. Okay, so I'm just going to drop these links in the live chat, in the description. And again, this is just one of the many goddamn atrocities going on right now. But if we can do anything to help a little, that's good. So if you can, please consider donating. I'm just gonna try and put these over here. Give me a second. There we go. That's UNHCR. Here's the UNICEF link. And Share the Meal. So, the thing is also with the UN, I don't know if you saw this because I was talking about it on Twitter, and I tried to get one of the people working in Yemen on the ground to come on the show. They pulled all of the funding. You had a bunch of countries at the UN. They pledged millions of dollars in aid to Yemen. Ironically, some of the countries that are bombing Yemen. Just like you see Saudi Arabia sitting on, or used to at least. I think they recently lost their seat on the Human Rights Council. It's just, anyway, so unfortunately, a large amount of those countries, the majority of the money did not come through, and so they had to shut down a bunch of frontline services that the UN was running. Not just related to food, but we're talking about medical care for women and children, for example. I mean, this is we're talking essential services, right? Meaning between life and death. So you had all these countries pledging millions and millions, and then the money just doesn't appear. And you got to consider this is on top of the fact that no one is being held accountable. It's not like, oh, this would be fine if everyone was pitching in. No, it would still not be fucking fine. There should not be a war there. And you got over 1 million people with cholera. It's the worst outbreak in history. The UK is bringing over Saudi pilots and training them. And in the UK, Barack Obama, I can't remember the exact figure, I think $115 billion worth of weapons he sold to the Saudis, including cluster bombs. And then I think towards the end of his administration, he decided not to sell them any more cluster bombs. Like now it's okay if you don't sell them cluster bombs, just regular bombs. I mean, okay, sure. I cluster bombs are they have a high dud rate. They're particularly inhumane. You go look at what they've done to civilians in Iraq. It's just disgusting. But that doesn't help, right? You're going to sell them conventional bombs, like it's okay to kill people with conventional bombs. What is this? So he sold them about $115 billion worth of weapons. And then, he refuses to give them any more cluster bombs. And then Trump comes in and Trump reverses that. And, he sold them another couple $100 billion worth of weapons. And, just makes no difference who's in charge, right? Makes no difference whatsoever. And of course, Canada, UK, France, they're also cashing in on this. It's just disgusting. It really is. So anyway, those are just, I just wanted to say that. And I'm still trying to get someone from the UN there, but today, some good news. Some good news, at least. The King, Morales, he's back. Oh, man. When they had their elections a few weeks ago, I can't remember. Here's the link. Here it is. This is what I posted when the election results came out. Okay. So they, just to recap briefly, in case you were not following this, because I was reporting on this a year ago when it happened. They orchestrated a coup to get rid of Evo Morales, right? So he's leader of, or he was leading the MAS party, right? So this is the movement for socialism inside of Bolivia, and they got rid of him with a military coup, but of course the media wasn't calling it that, right? Oh, he doesn't want to let go of power, and we'll get to how the media was spinning it in a second. But they held new elections just last month in October, and despite him being ousted in a coup last year, Morales, his party won the elections. Okay, so here's the just briefly, just to show you by what kind of margin they won those elections. MAS, there we go, right? 55% of the vote. I mean, this is, they just dwarfed the competition. There's just no way you can spin it here, because last year they're saying, there's voter fraud, election fraud, and claiming that he rigged the elections. No, this is nonsense. Okay. They couldn't crush the Bolivian people's resolve, and they won in a landslide. So that was great. And I think, here it is. So this is what I posted when this was, when the results were coming out. So I just gave my sincerest congratulations, because it is a victory against imperialism. It is a victory against imperialism. This is not just some, some grassroots coup. No, this was orchestrated by the OAS, by the Organization of American States, which is, some antiquated Cold War institution based in D.C. They received the majority of their funding from the United States, and it's just an arm. It's an imperialist arm they just use to invalidate and overthrow other governments. So, and by the way, this is not the first time that the U.S. has done a coup in Bolivia, but they used the OAS report as clear-cut evidence that there was election fraud, and that the exit polls, the discrepancies were too large, and therefore he rigged the elections, Morales, and he just wouldn't leave. He would not leave power, and so it was not a coup. No, he's just a dictator. The same goddamn playbook. So this was really sending a message. This victory by the MAS party, just giving them the finger. Beautifully, I might add, beautifully. And today, Morales returns. Here's some video of that. I want to show you some footage of him returning. Now, again, he's not returning as a president, right? He's just returning back to the country because they forced him in exile, and they had a warrant out for his arrest, and that was annulled by a judge. So he can now go back to Bolivia. So this is, look at the reception. It's just unbelievable. Beautiful. And then he gave a little speech over here. I want to show you that as well. So you just to remind you quickly, I think he went to Mexico first, and then for the most part he was in Argentina for the last year. So cross back over.
Hay que llenar de alegría. Yo digo tres fiestas. Uno, hermano Lucho David, presidente, felicidades. Segundo, Evo, Álvaro, todos los refugiados detonando en Bolivia, otra fiesta. ¿Y la tercera fiesta de qué es? Dígame. No, se equivoca. El gringo que nos dio golpe el año pasado, ahora nos damos golpe al gringo de Estados Unidos. Otra fiesta.
That was beautiful. I want to play that again.
Hay que llenar de alegría. Yo digo tres fiestas. Uno, hermano Lucho David, presidente, felicidades. Segundo, Evo, Álvaro, todos los refugiados detonando en Bolivia, otra fiesta. ¿Y la tercera fiesta de qué es? Dígame. No, se equivoca. El gringo que nos dio golpe el año pasado, ahora nos damos golpe al gringo de Estados Unidos. Otra fiesta.
El gringo.
Hermanas y hermanos, este golpe es a los recursos naturales. Es al litio. Si hay que llenar de...
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we need to consistently, repeatedly, continuously call out and expose this myth that the United States is some valiant moral arbiter and beacon of democracy and only cares about implementing justice and freedom in other countries. No, they're after the resources, just like with all of their other adventures. Yes. So Bolivia has obscene, tremendous, as Trump would say, tremendous amounts of lithium. And I did a whole video about that. Please go watch that report. It's a 15-minute video. I think you'll find it quite informative. So I did one just about the lithium and how it relates to the coup. And, just as Morales is saying, El Gringo was taught a lesson. So that's beautiful. And I just want to add another thing over here. Don't worry, we're not done. In the wake of the win by the MAS party, right? By Morales' Socialist Party. Look at this. I pointed out on Twitter how all of these outlets that were saying he's a dictator and he doesn't want to let go of power and, he's rigging the elections, they didn't make a peep about the fact that his party just won in a landslide, that the socialists took power again in Bolivia after this coup in a landslide. Not a peep, man. None of them. This is what you saw. You went on Washington Post, this is all you saw. Right? Oh, Trump is trashing Fauci again. Who cares? He does that every day. How do you have an international news section, a world news section, and you're not talking about this? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, speaking of these villains, these scoundrels, these scandalous bitches, look at how they're reporting on him coming back. So this is from the New York Times today, right? They say Evo Morales returns to Bolivia to cheers and worries. Supporters rush to welcome the divisive former president back from exile and his party's back in power. But the country's new leaders have kept their distance, okay? Now let's scroll down a bit. Look what they say here. Bolivia's maverick former president Evo Morales made a triumphant return to his homeland Monday, a year after his failed attempt to keep power tore the nation apart and sent him into exile. Now look, man, I don't know about you, but That's a really bizarre way to refer to a coup, a military coup, a right-wing fascist coup. What are you talking about? Yes, this is what they're doing. And look at the BBC. Bolivian ex-president Evo Morales returns from exile. Okay. What does it say here? Morales resigned and left Bolivia in November 2019 amid mass protests over allegations of vote rigging in the presidential election. Right? Are you going to say that those allegations were bogus? Any mention of that? Nothing. But they did include the smears. Members of the right-wing interim government accused Mr. Morales of sedition, terrorism, and statutory rape. What? I love how they call it right-wing interim government. You mean the coup plotters, the people who took over in a coup. Yeah, I recall them trashing his house, right? They trashed his family's house. I think it was his sister's house. They went around trashing multiple residences of government officials, burning them down. They were threatening to kill him. Look how they're trying to downplay it. Look how they're trying to downplay it. Like, this is how the propaganda works. They'll bring up the smears against who they're trying to character assassinate, who they're trying to vilify, right? Say, oh, we heard such and such about this person. And then they won't make any attempt to show you that this is complete nonsense, first of all, and that the people making these allegations did those acts themselves. Unreal. Unreal. So one thing that also happened, which is, which is good to see. Venezuela has retaken its embassy in La Paz, Bolivia, following the inauguration of President Luis Arce. Juan Guaido's people had taken the embassy in June. Evo Morales also returned to Bolivia today after being exiled in Argentina for a year. Hope returning for many. So they got rid of the portrait of Guaido, the American Western-backed puppet. So that's nice. That's nice. Now, just going back to the role that the media played, all right? They never bothered to correct any of this. So, you know, the basis of the coup was that the Organization of American States, the OAS, they sent election observers, and they concluded with two reports that Morales had somehow fixed the election. He rigged it. And this served as the basis, as the justification that they used to get rid of him with an armed coup, with a fascist coup. And this is what all the news outlets in the West also cited, and this is what the U.S. government was also more than happy to dangle in people's faces and use as, you know, a smear that he had rigged the election. And it all turned out to be bogus. New York Times reported this themselves. A bitter election, accusations of fraud, and now second thoughts. A close look at Bolivian election data suggests an initial analysis by the OAS that raised questions of vote rigging and helped force out a president was flawed. Oh, it was it? So why were you accusing him of fraud then? You motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. They're more than happy to participate in the witch hunt. They're more than happy to repeat the propaganda. And then months later, they come back and say, oh, well, you know, turns out it wasn't true. Just like they did with the Iraq War. Exact same thing. You can go and Google it. You'll find it up on their website. Their apology, right? Their half-assed apology. It's not even an apology for repeating lies about weapons of mass destruction. Oh, maybe we should have scrutinized claims by the Bush administration a bit more. Oh, oopsie. A million people died. Oops. Go look at the BBC. They'll put out this new documentary, Once Upon a Time in Iraq. I told you to go watch it. It's quite good. There's still some propaganda in there, but you'll see firsthand accounts of the suffering and the damage that the war caused. But it's too late. It's too little too late. You should have been doing this before the war start, right? You should be trying to expose these government lies, this propaganda, before the wars and the coups start. Not 17 years after the fact, not a year after the fact, when people are already been killed, when people are already been displaced. They love doing this. You'll see this from everyone. New York Times, BBC, Washington, they all come back after it's too late and say, oh, well, it turns out that, this analysis was flawed. Why the fuck did you say it then? Why did you report that? Unbelievable. It's not just them, right? Washington Post, we're more than happy to do it. Bolivia is in danger of slipping into anarchy. It's Evo Morales' fault. Oh my God. BBC, Morales claims victory amid fraud claims. See, this is all from October 2019, November 2019, just a year ago. The Atlantic, Evo Morales finally went too far for Bolivia. I mean, what really made me laugh is Trump just yesterday saying, since when does the lamestream media... Hold on, let me, can you see that that's Trump? That's his account. Trump saying, since when does the lamestream media call who our next president will be? We have all learned a lot in the last 2 weeks. Motherfucker, look who's talking. Look who's talking. You had no problem with Pompeo doing that to Morales, right? This is Pompeo last year. I fully support the findings of the OAS official report recommending new elections in Bolivia to ensure a truly democratic process. Oh my God. Right? They're all in working in collaboration. The state, the regime, the media apparatus, the propaganda mouthpieces. They're more than happy to collaborate, overthrowing other countries, toppling other governments, meddling in their elections, meddling in their affairs, straight up invading them. They're more than happy to do that. And now Trump is crying because he's getting just a minuscule, a tiny, tiny, tiny taste. What a joke. But you see, at the end of the day, you can see with the New York Times, they're more than happy to say, oh yeah, the elections were rigged. Look at this OAS report. Morales is gone. Oh, turns out the data was flawed, it appears. Now that the coup was unsuccessful, let's go back to the smears. No, we can't accept the reality. We can't accept the results that, this party, MAS, is wildly successful. It represents the workers, the indigenous population. They gave the finger to Uncle Sam and this imperialist coup and the OAS. No, they're not going to report it that way. Oh, no. It's, look, Morales is back after he tried to, hold on to power. He's such a dictator. These people are unbelievable. They really are. They're fucking scum. C'est fatigant. C'est fatigant. Vraiment. So please go watch that video I did about the lithium. I think it's a really important one. But it's not just about that specifically. It's also in general the same pattern where the United States and their Western allies or their poodles, they go after independent socialist countries who don't want to bend the knee to Uncle Sam, who don't adhere to this U.S. hegemony, right? Venezuela, Syria, North Korea, Iran. That's what it's about. On top of the resources issue, right? I mean, Jesus, the number of coups that they've done in Central America and Latin America alone. It's never ending. It really isn't. And the media, I mean, forget about it. Fourth Estate, forget about it. Holding the government accountable, forget about it. They will always repeat the garbage that is handed to them from the DOD. Always repeat it blindly, without question, and then maybe question it after it's far too late, after the damage is already done. And deny their role completely in shaping public opinion, in fueling the propaganda and repeating it, in amplifying the lies that are coming out of Washington. Dirty bastards, they really are. Unbelievable that some of these people still have careers. So we got a few, but I just want to say, once again, resoundingly, this is a great thing for Bolivia that they gave Uncle Sam, they gave the imperialist machine a giant middle finger and told them to go fuck themselves, right? This is a wonderful thing. This is a great thing. And I hope to see the same kind of victory achieved in Venezuela, in Syria, and all the countries that are continuously being trampled on and crushed and attacked and vilified and demonized and colonized by the US and their partners in crime. I really do. Because the world will be a better place. So we got a couple of donations on PayPal. Let me just read them to you. 1 second. We got one from Choctaw Media. There's no note attached, but thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We got a couple super chats here on YouTube. One from Anna Jackson says, I need some vitriol in my system right now. Spit, Richard. America and its election is garbage. Oh, 100%. 100%. And I mean, it goes without saying, the irony here is absolutely striking that, you have Pompeo going around saying, we need to promote free and fair elections in Bolivia and in Nicaragua, and insert next regime change target here. Motherfucker, you don't even have free and fair elections in your own country. Okay? I don't care what people say. I don't care what the turnout was. It's not on the night of the election that you come and tell me, oh, look how many people voted. There's perfect election integrity. No, the fuck there isn't. Why don't you tell me how many people were dissuaded from voting, were prevented from voting? Because when we go and look at Georgia, when we go and look at Texas, and you look at the thousands of polling stations that have been shut down, and the resources that are just not given specifically to communities of color, that doesn't look very fucking democratic to me. And you got time and energy and money and resources to go and bomb and lecture other countries. Fuck out of here, man. It's not about that. Ben Kavanaugh, thank you for the super chat, says, what will happen in Syria now with Biden in power? Susan Rice, possible Secretary of State. Turmoil in Azerbaijan and Armenia. So, well, I addressed this last time, but once again, this warrants addressing. We're going to be addressing this a lot. Biden, hold on 1 second. Joe Biden, he was vice president in Obama's administration. That's when the war on Syria started. They were funneling money, weapons over to these jihadists. Of course, you got Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar also, each funding their own flavors of jihad, but they're more than complicit in creating the conditions that gave rise to ISIS with the war in Iraq. And then, of course, once we had ISIS, once you had all of these jihadist groups, whitewashing them in the media, portraying them as rebels, and portraying this imperialist aggression and regime change war as a grassroots revolution. And to this day, they continue to do that. And, Joe Biden, as I said, he played a pivotal role in helping start the war in Iraq, and then was in the Obama administration when they started against Syria, destroyed Libya. And his foreign policy advisor has signaled to the Washington Post a few months ago that, Biden approves of these Caesar Act sanctions. I mean, you got to consider something, man. Even if there wasn't a war, those sanctions alone are an act of war. You know, you're choking a country and strangling it and causing its currency to go into free fall, demolishing its economy, cutting off funding, punishing anyone who tries to help invest in the country. I mean, this is evil. It's siege warfare. It kills people. So those are not going to stop under Biden because he's not only, as I said, he hasn't condemned them. Moreover, his foreign policy advisor has said that, oh, yeah, we think this is an effective tool. And when it comes also to the troops that are in Syria, dude, Biden is going to keep the same forces in northeastern Syria guarding the oil fields, as they like to say, you know, until it turns out they're plundering the oil and giving it to American firms that are also subsidized by the government. So it's state sanctioned, you know, it's a fascism, straight up fascism and imperialism. And so that's not going to change, man. I mean, look what he did. Look what he did to Iraq, man. Look what this guy did to Iraq alone. Never mind that he had a hand in starting the war in Syria in the first place. That's not going to change. And Susan Rice, oh Jesus! I mean, she's also fully complicit with helping to destroy Libya. She was in the Obama administration. That's not counting what she did during the Bill Clinton years, right? When she was also serving in his administration and turning a blind eye to what was going to happen in Rwanda, which turned out to be the Rwandan genocide, right? Refusing to even call it a genocide at the time. I mean, these people are fucking evil. That's an understatement, right? They're beyond evil. They're going to keep serving the military-industrial complex. They have no shred of humanity in them. They're just. I don't understand anyone who expects change. I really don't. I really don't. You know. They will change the tactic, but the result is the same. That's the sad truth. That is the sad truth, man. And, you know, as I mentioned on Twitter the other day, it's frankly astonishing how these wars have been started 2-3 administrations ago. I mean, I don't care if they're started yesterday, but just the fact they're started 2-3 governments ago, regimes ago, and each new president that comes in, each new administration just inherits them. Although, can you really say inherit with Joe Biden since he helped start it? It's not really inheriting if you're, you know, if it's yours. And no one questions it, right? You know, at least Obama, when he ran in 2007 and 2008, he was talking about, oh, I'm going to end mass surveillance. Oh, I'm going to end the war in Iraq and in Afghanistan. I'm going to close down Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, he's full of shit. But this time around, did you even hear them say stuff like that? You're listening to Biden before he's even been elected saying like, oh, China and Russia and Iran, they're going to pay a price when I get in office. Holy shit. That's your diplomacy? You're threatening people you're supposed to sit down and negotiate with before you are even elected? What does that signal to them? Why the fuck would they sit down with you? Madness. Straight up madness. You can't reason with these monsters. Their whole careers are built off of war and destruction. I mean, that's putting it lightly. So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, you're going to have a lovely cabinet with Joe Biden. Oh, you just wait and see, man. The most corrupt sewage from Washington just resurfacing, neocons, you name it. And of course, they're going to market it to you, sell it to you as, oh, look, we have to compromise. Motherfucker, it hasn't even been 48 hours since you were elected, and you're already conceding to the other party. Oh my God, just unbelievable. Well, it is what it is, you know, it's just we can't do it, and you're just going to have to swallow a little, as Joe Biden's wife would say. Like, this is insane. This is insane that anyone tolerates this shit. This is absolutely insane. This guy started the fucking war in Iraq. He was Bush's man in the Democratic camp, right? What the fuck? This guy should be afraid to show his face in public. He should be afraid to step outside of his house. Susan Rice, the same thing. Oh, we shouldn't call what's happening in Rwanda genocide. You know, we don't want to alarm people or do anything about it. You know, fuck it, just let it happen. What the fuck? Dude, we're talking about a genocide. Like, I can't believe I have to explain this, like as if this is just going over people's heads. That these people are so accepted, you know, it's the desensitization, the normalization of criminality and evil in the people that are elected into office is just unreal, right? It's like not even brought up, not even questioned, no one cares. You still got people saying like, what do you mean Joe Biden? No, Biden just voted for the Iraq war. He didn't start it. Motherfucker. As if that would be any better. And it's not even true. You don't even know what the fuck you're voting for, you clown. It's so bad. And this is really, it's an indictment, not just on voters. It's the media, the lack of education, the brainwashing, the propaganda, how they do this so well that no one even stops for 1 second and say like, yeah, we should not be putting people who start wars in the Oval Office. You know, that's like a really low bar, not complicated. No, fuck it. Why would anyone question that? Just so we got something from Mona over here, but it won't let me read it. Mona, I don't know why it's saying that it's pending. I guess you used the bad word. Did you say my country's name? Did you say Syria? How dare you? You know PayPal can't have that. You know that's not allowed. We got a new page. We actually got several new Patreons. We got Paul and we got Caden. Let me play a crab dance just for you. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Here we go, baby.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
You stupid bastard.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
All right, we're back. Here we go. Thank you, Mona, for sending it again. Bless you. Let me read out this super chat on PayPal. So Mona says, oops, I said a bad word. I spelt it backwards. I hope it works. So I sent it again. Fucking PayPal. Hey, to my favorite YouTuber / TV host. Oh shit. That's right. I'm a broadcast journalist now. Richie, dude, you know I have to drop by and send you some love because I'm so grateful for everything you do. Dude, you're always delivering the truth. Mona is way too sweet to me, and she making me blush having to read this out loud. Bless you, girl, seriously. And it's so important for people to hear it. Thank you, sir, Medhurst. Shit, I ain't been knighted yet. Nah, they will never do that to someone like me. Also, did you hear Pompeo announced they're going to flood Iran with sanctions? No surprise, but which time? This is every week, man. They got new sanctions every week. I wish I was joking. It's it's that bad. I did not hear about that today. No. Oh, Christ. Here we go. It really is terrible, though, because they are 6 days ago, around 6 days ago, they put new sanctions on Iran. So I think this is what Mona's referring to. This is from today. Here, let's pull this up. I always love a little impromptu segment, don't you? So we got new sanctions coming down on Iran from the U.S. What a surprise. So Pompeo expected an Israel amid bid to hike Iran sanctions before Biden takeover. Right, like as if Biden is not going to help sanction Iran. This is so hilarious. Like how they try to create these like false differences between them as if they're fundamentally different. No, they're really not. So of course, Gulf states are also backing raft of new measures. That's a cool statement. Iran tells its neighbors to ignore effort. Trump's gone in 70 days, but will remain here forever. You know it. And I'm just trying to understand. Give me 1 second over here. Okay, so here we go. This is the purpose of them, because I talked about Elliot Abrams the other day, and I will do that again in a second. So the report said that the Trump administration, in coordination with Israel and Arab states in the Persian Gulf, was planning a bevy of wide-ranging sanctions on Iran to make it more difficult for the incoming administration to re-enter the nuclear deal, which was negotiated when Biden served as vice president under Obama. I was actually outside the hotel where they were doing these negotiations at the time. I remember walking past, and crazy, man. So anyway, quoting Israeli and Arab sources, well, that said, U.S. Special Representative for Iran and Venezuela, here we go, here he is, Elliot Abrams, is planning to announce a raft of fresh sanctions on Iran every week from now until January 20. Same game plan, business as usual. These sanctions will reportedly target Iran's missile program and its support for terrorist groups, as well as focus on its human rights violations, making it harder for Biden to roll back such punishments. I mean, this is exactly what I was talking to you guys about the night of, when we got the final results that Biden won. So just 2 nights ago. Man, Elliot Abrams is a skeleton neocon warhawk. This guy is another John Bolton. He's a skeleton who's been in DC for eons, and I don't think there's a war or a sanction that he's never liked in his life. And he was testifying, I believe it was to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee just about a week and a half ago, and he said exactly this. He said that it doesn't matter if Biden wins, because even if Biden gets in office, he can't just roll back all the sanctions on Iran in a day or two. And I read you the exact quote during the live stream. And as you're seeing here, the way they're going to do this, it's not just about the nuclear deal. It's also about making sure that they can cripple Iran's efforts to defend themselves. They're very worried because even despite the sanctions, Iran has been able to develop its military capability extremely well, right? I mean, just objectively speaking, very impressive. But under sanctions, when you're cut off from foreign currency, when you're prevented from dealing with international partners, when it's harder to get parts, that's quite a feat. And nonetheless, they came out with these 2 new missiles, which I can't remember if I did a report on YouTube or if that was on Twitter, but they named them after the assassinations in January, right? So the U.S. assassinated General Qasem Soleimani, and they also assassinated Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis. So they named them, they named those long-range missiles after them. Kind of like sticking the finger to the United States, giving them the finger. And those are just, we're just talking here about ballistic missiles. You got to consider also their surface-to-air missiles. So we have a wide range of military capabilities that they've been showing real strength in. And that's separate from the nuclear program, okay? So keep that in mind. Which makes you wonder, like, hold on a second. I thought this was just about nukes. You keep saying that, oh, Iran can't have nukes. No, it's not just about that, man. They want to make sure that countries targeted for regime change, countries that are targeted by these imperialist powers, cannot defend themselves. You understand? They want to take away their teeth. And moreover, you saw the line here. Whoops, wrong window. Not just their missile program, but its support for terrorist groups. Well, we all know what that means. They're talking about Iran helping Syria fight ISIS, right? They're talking about Iran's support for Hezbollah. You know, anyone who resists imperialism, anyone who resists Zionism and U.S. hegemony is automatically a terrorist, right? And we know that's the reason because, you know, just recently they removed Sudan from the list of states that allegedly sponsor terrorism. Why? Oh, because they're going to be on more friendly terms with Israel. So apparently that's the real condition to being removed from that list, right? It's establishing ties with the Zionist occupation. It's not about you actually being a terrorist, because nothing to do with that. So that's what they mean here, right? Oh, you're going to keep supporting resistance efforts. You're going to keep supporting Hezbollah. You're going to keep fighting, helping the Syrian government fight ISIS. Okay, we're going to sanction you. And the human rights violations, I mean, this is a joke. The United States is talking about human rights violations. Fuck me. I don't know any other country that commits more human rights violations. Motherfucker, you don't even have human rights in the United States. Have you seen how black people are treated in the US? The fucking country is built on genocide. The last place on earth to talk about human rights. Unreal. You still have the fucking death penalty. Never mind all the other crap. I mean, God, we could be here for hours. So, I mean, this is hilarious. And it just shows you once again that this is a continuation of imperialism, of aggressive foreign policy, of crapping all over other countries, you know, choking them, starving off their people. And people are really sitting here and thinking like, oh, it's so great that Biden has been elected. You know, everything's going to be much nicer now. Look, he's going to, the JCPOA. What are you smoking? Once again, I need to spell this out very clearly. Who said the JCPOA is beneficial to Iran? Iran was following the guidelines, the protocols. The nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, which is here in Vienna, their inspectors were allowed access to all of the nuclear sites. Iran wasn't enriching uranium past 3.67%, which is outlined in the JCPOA. They didn't do anything wrong. They were following the agreement. The United States is the one that pulled out of it and is trying to use snapback sanctions mechanism to sanction Iran, which is ridiculous because you pulled out of the deal. You can't use a mechanism of a deal you are no longer a part of. That's just one thing, right? But Iran followed the deal. What did they get out of it? Disrespect, an act of war, sanctions, violations of their sovereignty, threats of more sanctions. I mean, if you're Iran, would you trust anything the United States says anymore? Why would you come back and sit down and negotiate or engage in any form of diplomacy? Obviously, when you did that, it didn't work. They screwed you. I mean, this is ridiculous because the way they talk about this, they speak about this stuff as if like, oh yeah, you know, the United States can just do whatever it likes. They can crap all over Iran. And, you know, when the United States is finally ready to sit down and maybe engage in diplomatic endeavors again, then, you know, Iran just has to accept it. Of course they're going to accept it. Why wouldn't they? That's a given. Man, I mean, this is unbelievable. Unreal, man. Truly. And of course, it's just like with Syria, right? They've completely decimated the economy. They've wrecked the currency, and it's the civilian population that suffers. It's always civilians that suffer the most. It's not the people being sanctioned or the government or, you know, the political elites or the oligarchs or whatever. It's always the civilians. Not just in Iran, not just in Syria, just in general. That's what siege warfare does. That's what sanctions are. Okay? And they try to portray it as something more civilized than war. No, it's not. When you can't import medical equipment and people are dying and they don't have heating oil, I mean, What is that except evil? The goal of the Trump administration is to impose sanctions that Biden cannot lift, according to an Arab official. Biden is not going to bother lifting them. All right. Biden is not going to even bother lifting them. So this is a message from the Iranian foreign minister, Zarif. So he says, Trump's gone in 70 days, but will remain here forever. Betting on outsiders to provide security is never a good gamble. We extend our hand to our neighbors for dialogue to resolve differences. Only together can we build a better future for all. Now, that guy is actually really fire when he's speaking at the UN. Man. You can see here, Iran's president, Rouhani, saying Biden needs to compensate for past mistakes and return the U.S. to Tehran's 2015 nuclear deal with world powers, right? He's never going to do that. This is, I need to explain this to you. This is just like when Assad says, when the Syrian president Assad says, oh yeah, we'll normalize ties with Israel if they give us back the Golan Heights. Motherfucker, they're never giving back the Golan Heights. And he knows damn well Biden is not going to do shit. This is not a priority for him. Do you understand? Biden gets in office. His priority is catering to Wall Street, is catering to the people that got him elected, right? Big pharma. The elite ruling class that has been screwing you over and making you think that this cop ticket is some kind of a better alternative to Trump. Those people, right? That made sure you can't have healthcare. He's going to cater to them. Lifting sanctions off of Iran is really not his top priority. Okay. I can assure you that. So, you know, hell, man, I'm all for diplomacy. If something positive happens, mashallah, that's a great thing. Why not? But, you know, come in here and telling us that this guy who's foaming at the mouth and he's bloodthirsty to invade Iraq in 98 and never met a war that he didn't like and started these wars on Syria and Libya and ramped it up from 2 to 7 and still won't apologize for it and says Bush tricked him into starting the Iraq war. And I mean, just what are you expecting from these people? Be real, man. Be real with yourself. You know, be real with yourself. You got a 50-year record, 40-year record as vice president, as a senator, as head of the Foreign Relations Committee. You have a giant record to look at. Please show me one fucking instance of this guy, of Joe Biden, being, Mother Teresa incarnate. All right? Please show me one example of this guy actually being pushed left. Millions of people marched against the war in Iraq, right? Before it started, in the lead up to the invasion. Millions. I still remember it on television. Go look up the pictures. Millions in the US, in London, all over the world. Did that push anyone left? Did it push George Bush and Tony Blair and Wolfowitz and Joe Biden? Did it push any one of these motherfuckers left? Millions of fucking people marched for that. For them to stop the invasion. These people don't represent you. Man, these people wear $1,000 suits. They get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to give speeches to banks. The disconnect between them and us and the working class could not be more stark. You're fucking dreaming if you think these people listen to you or have, diplomatic endeavors at heart. You know, if something good comes, wonderful, but don't hold your breath. You know, don't keep your hopes up. The fact that you still have people like Susan Rice being suggested and other genocidal maniacs and war hawks on a short list for Biden's cabinet. I mean, they're already telling you to go fuck yourself. They're already telling you, yeah, you're not. No, this is not happening. There's no progressive agenda coming here. No. You'll see. You'll see. And once again, I must highlight the fact that, you want to talk about human rights violations. You want to talk about endeavors to acquire a nuclear weapon. You want to talk about terrorism. Why doesn't the United States sanction Israel? Why isn't the United States trying to prevent Israel from acquiring weapons of mass destruction? They already have them. They use white phosphorus. They have nukes. They already have them. Why is it only Iran? Isn't that weird? So it's okay for Israel to have nukes, but not Iran or Iraq. Israel is the only country in that region in the Middle East, right, that has weapons of mass destruction, that regularly uses chemical weapons on Palestinians, that executes Palestinians in broad daylight, commits the most grotesque human rights violations. Have they ever been sanctioned? Has anyone even suggested such a thing? There we go, man. I hate to break it to you. They're all assholes. I hate to break it to you. Caden Rodriguez, thank you, Caden, says, just sign up on Patreon to help support you. We need more journalists such as yourself. You're a gem, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I really, really appreciate your support. Anthony says banana peel as usual. We got a banana peel as usual, of course. And I hope, Caden, I hope you saw the crab dance that I played for you just earlier. Red Sea Socialist says, I'm donating on Num5's behalf. What? I'm having a Biden moment. You're going to have to excuse me. I'm trying to figure out. Yo, we got 238 beautiful souls watching. Make sure that you have hit the like button, drone strike it, throw a shoe at it, do whatever you want to do. And I'm going to take this opportunity to remind you, please sign up for the newsletter. I don't trust YouTube. I don't trust big tech. You already saw the repression and the censorship just a few weeks ago with the Hunter Biden story. I don't want to even know what's going to happen in the next 4 years during a Biden administration. So we got to decentralize. You feel me? So just sign up for the newsletter. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a backup plan. Do you feel me? It's a form of contingency. So we're not dependent wholly on or solely on YouTube and otherwise. Okay. So I'm just going to put the link in the live chat. Here you go. And did you guys get a notification on YouTube that I was live? Did you get a notification on Patreon? Because YouTube doesn't tell you half the time that I'm live. So I thought of using the newsletter for that, or the mailing list at least. And yeah, you tell me. So I've dropped the link to the newsletter in the live chat. Okay. So let me see. I think we got some more donations. Y'all got to be patient with me. I'm trying to keep up, man. I'm trying to keep up. Hold on. Let me try and pull this up over here. I think you can see them on the screen this time, which is great. 1 second. Marissa, thank you so much for the super chat. Marissa says, sad that I showed up late. Hope I didn't miss too much. Happy Monday, sir. You came right on time. That's I'm trying to do Michael Scott is resurfacing. No, you came right on time. Don't worry. And thank you so much for being here. It's not a super chat. It's not a super chat unless we celebrate the late arrival of YouTube notifications. So at least that. We got another one, I think. 1 second. This thing is bugging. Oh, here we go. Another one from Marissa. Thank you so much. Let me read this out to you guys. Number one, the UN Universal Periodic Review is now reviewing the U.S. human rights record. They do it every 5 years. So maybe the UN will actually do something. Number two, 2 days ago, Amnesty International created a list of human rights priorities for the Biden administration to follow. Unfortunately, they are recommendations and not mandates. But check them out here if you are interested. Definitely. He can start by, expunging all the records, because you see a lot of people that think these two things are the same. Biden says, and again, he just says that, convictions for marijuana offenses, they'll be expunged. Who said that's enough? Where's the compensation? And what about other nonviolent drug offenses? You wrote the fucking crime bill. You pushed the war on drugs. That's not enough. And again, I don't trust somebody who lies about weapons of mass destruction. Like, I can't trust you. That is the fucking qualifying factor not to trust someone. If you can lie about nuclear weapons, you should not be trusted about anything ever fucking again. Ever. Do you understand? Like, that's insane, right? But anyway, let me just pull this up over here. I want to see what these recommendations are. So 80 policy recommendations. Oh, so we have a couple of categories here. I don't know if you can see that. It's in the wrong window. Hold on. So here we go. These are the human rights priorities for the Biden administration from Amnesty International. So we got a couple of sections. Arms sales. Again, I already see Saudi Arabia. You think he's going to do anything on that? You think he'll do anything about that? Given that the Obama administration sold them hundreds of billions? I don't know. Man. Okay, I'm going to need to really sit down and read this because this is quite extensive. But I mean, just off the top of my head, man, $115 billion, I think is the correct figure. $115 billion worth of weapons they sold the Saudis, Biden and Obama administration. I don't know if he's going to stop anytime soon. And, this is just... Yeah, that's not happening, unfortunately. The United States must immediately suspend weapon sales to Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They're not going to do that. I just don't see that happening. I really don't, man. I really don't. Again, I'm not trying to knock this, the recommendations. I wish they were binding, but, it's just... And asylum access. I mean, this is another thing where people are like, oh, Biden, he's better than Trump because... he's not going to kick out all the dreamers and he's not trying to stop refugees coming into the U.S. Motherfucker, he created the refugees. He helped create these victims that have been displaced, if not killed. Do I need to say any more? And it's not just about wars. Again, these neoliberal policies and the sanctions decimate countries, right? It doesn't have to be only through the form of bombs. And freedom of expression. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't see him doing much there, man. You remember how they were hosing down and tear gassing people at Standing Rock? You remember what they did to Snowden? You remember what how they use the Espionage Act against journalists? I'm gonna have to sit down and read all of this, but unfortunately, I just I don't see Biden doing a single goddamn thing on this list. It's just beyond wishful thinking, and they're already signaling to you. They're already telling you, like, we're gonna have to compromise on the people we put in this cabinet because, we're gonna be blocked, and we'll unite America with unity nominees. A half neocon, a quarter war hawk, like as if that's any better. Oh man. My screen went black there for a second. My apologies, but thank you for this, Mercer. I really appreciate it. I want to show you another thing over here. Just give me 1 second to get through your super chats, guys. Mona says, I just want to say thank you for not putting any of your content behind a paywall. One of the only YouTubers that does that. Also, fuck number 5. Who is number 5? I'm so confused what you guys are talking about. Mambo number 5? Are you talking about Lou Bega? I'm really out of the loop, man. I'm too tired for this. But Thank you, Mona. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I don't believe in that because, you know, I guess this comes from when doing music with my band. Like, you know, you give out the music or whatever you're doing, the reporting for free, and then if people want to donate, that's great. But I don't like paywalls and stuff like that. I don't believe in it. So I want everyone to be able to access what we're saying here, the message, and to be woken up from the media bullshit. So thank you for the super chat, Mona. Thank you, Anna. Anna says, I study languages: Spanish, Italian, French, German, Portuguese, Dutch. I'm focused on my French. Which is the best publication to read? I read Courrier International. Don't know the bias. Oh God. Man, you know, my economics professor, she was like, okay, that's not fair to call her, you know, what I was going to say, but man, she was mean as hell, right? So she made us subscribe to a bunch of really leftist newspapers, and we had to pay for it ourselves, whatever. And man, she hammered the shit out of us. I mean, we were doing, like, my French got so much better just from what she was making us read, never mind the other subject. So what I would recommend you read, man, stay far away from Le Figaro. That's number one. The problem is, you know, in French media, you have a lot of the same bullshit that you see in British and American media. So, man, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. Maybe Maniac can help me out of here. Maniac is in the comments, right? Qu'est-ce qu'on peut recommander là? I saw Maniac in here, but I'll get back to you on that one because I'm not reading any news in French at the moment. Who's Johnny number 05? Was that a troll in the comments? Okay, I still don't know what you guys are talking about, but oh, okay, I see. Now I'm in the loop. Fostering a cult? Shit, man. Well, look, you know, if it's about Mambo number 5, I think we can all approve of that. No, but seriously, that's bullshit. I mean, I don't know, man. There's tons of trolls. But I'm glad. I don't know who got rid of the troll, but thank you for that. And J American 347 says, how do you maintain a positive? One sec, I can't. There we go. How do you maintain a positive persona when reporting on so much corruption and devastation? Shit, man, you tell me. You got to laugh about it, otherwise you're gonna cry about it, man. And we still crying. But seriously, it's I don't know what to say. I really don't. You know, when you go and look at Mike Pompeo's Twitter, for example, that shit is hilarious. This clown, just today, he was talking about, oh, we believe in human rights and we promote human rights. I'm paraphrasing here, right? It's all verbal diarrhea anyway. And I'm like, you're being serious right now? How can you not laugh at stuff like that? But seriously, man, we got to laugh. Otherwise, we're going to cry. And it's just, you know, I feel that I think if you can break down easily enough how hypocritical the media is, how hypocritical these governments are, and it's more digestible for people, you know, that's what counts at the end of the day. And yeah, the problem now is that people were laughing at Trump and saying, oh, look, he's dumb. Oh, look, he's a clown. Yeah, he's a loudmouth racist, but now you have Biden coming back in. You know, he's got this friendly grandpa face. They're all going to go back to sleep, and he's going to perpetuate, maintain, uphold the same system, and no one is going to care, right? And when you open your mouth, they will question you, right? Because it's really easy to say, oh, look, Trump is crap. And even then, they weren't doing it for the right reasons. They say, oh, no, it's Russiagate. Oh, look, it's, you know, he can't, he doesn't exceed the vocabulary of a 12-year-old. Wow. What about selling weapons to Saudi Arabia? What about persecuting Assange? You going to talk about that? No. So, you know, it's all fun and games until, no, I don't like that analogy either. I don't know who's saying that, but, you know, Biden looks like a fucking creep. Not a friendly grandpa. I don't know who's saying that. But, you know, that's all I'm going to say, man. You have to laugh at it. Otherwise, I was still crying, man. You know, I was working on that video. I've never been to Iraq. I'm not from Iraq, but, you know, I look at what you go down the rabbit hole, and I say rabbit hole because there's so many atrocities, right? And that, man. Or Yemen. Look at what's happening in Yemen. And these are just a few examples. A few. We got a super chat from R. Adams. Says, thanks, Richard, for standing up for truth. Of course. I really appreciate the kind words and your support and encouragement. I just want to show you guys something to highlight how hypocritical the media is. Okay, so please pay attention. Pay close attention. And I mean, here we go. So let me just close out these old tabs over here because it's getting messy. There we go. Make sure we're recording. Okay. I'm like Fat Joe every time, you know, and with Ashanti, what's love? Mic is on. Only the hip hop fans will know. So when Donald Trump was still saying, oh, I've won the election. Oh, there's been fraud. And he's, you know, rambling in the White House. Multiple outlets. Shit, I wasn't recording. Hold on. There we go. Okay, now we're recording. Let me start again. So in the last few days, when Donald Trump was saying that the election has been stolen from him and he's rambling away on television, multiple networks cut away. They cut him off, went back to the studio shot and called him out on his lying. Okay? Let me just show you very quickly some examples. So this is with Brian Williams. Okay?
If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio.
Okay, here we are again in the unusual position of not only interrupting the President of the United States, but correcting the President of the United States. And Ari Melber, don't go far. So
that's one. All right, that was Brian Williams. Here's Shepard Smith.
Measures whatsoever.
Well, we're interrupting this because
now tens of millions of unsolicited ballots without any verification measures whatsoever.
Well, we're interrupting this because what the President of the United States is saying, in large part, is absolutely untrue. He began, and we're not going to allow it to keep going because it's not true. He began with there were legal votes, and if they only count the legal votes, I easily win. If they count the illegal votes, they're trying to steal the election. There is not a scintilla of evidence that this is true. None. There's only words here.
Oh, okay. Okay, so when the president of the United States is lying, now you cut him off. I seem to remember, okay? I seem to remember Shepard Smith singing a very different tune not too long ago. Take a look.
Richard will tell you that the only way for peace was to get rid of Saddam Hussein, and the President of the United States has promised that this particular campaign will do that. Then you return the oil wells and give them their money back, get them fed and help them rebuild. Then maybe, Brit Hume, you have an outpost in the middle of the Persian Gulf and a way to spread some of the love. Who knows? It's certainly a good thought, isn't it?
Did you hear that? That's the same dude. That's the same dude. That's Shepard Smith. So now, when the president is lying, oh, hey, everybody, all the networks, we got to cut him off. He's lying. He's lying. Dear citizens, we cannot allow this. But during the invasion, this motherfucker is cheering it on and saying, oh, the president of the United States has said that this will be good for the Iraqis. We're going to give them back their oil wells. We're going to feed them. We're going to bring them democracy. And who knows? Maybe it'll be an outpost in the Persian Gulf to spread the love. Holy shit. Holy shit. What the fuck was that? Spread the love? That's a weird way to talk about imperialism, you motherfucker. Let me play that again for you. Look at this hypocrisy. Look at this shit.
Richard will tell you that the only way for peace was to get rid of Saddam Hussein, and the President of the United States has promised that this particular campaign will do that. Then you return the oil wells and give them their money back, get them fed and help them rebuild. Then maybe, Brit Hume, you have an outpost in the middle of the Persian Gulf and a way to spread some of the love. Who knows? It's certainly a good thought, isn't it?
Of unsolicited ballots without any verification measures whatsoever?
Well, we're interrupting this because what the President of the United States is saying, in large part, is absolutely untrue. He began...
Bitch, and what George Bush was saying about delivering democracy to Iraq, that was not untrue. You didn't cut off Bush. You repeated his fucking lies and glorified it. Oh, we're spreading the love. What the fuck? Man, these people are fucking mass murdering war criminals. There is no difference between them and Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister under the Nazis, okay? No fucking difference. They sit there in front of a camera and lie, not to millions, to the planet, to sell wars, to murder people. They're fucking war criminals. Spread the love. Let me tell you something, man. Trump refusing to accept that he's lost an election is a fart, is a joke compared to what the fuck George Bush and Tony Blair were selling. All right? Their lies about weapons of mass destruction, about delivering democracy to Iraq. And you fucking glorified that shit. You repeated it and glorified it and fucking echoed their lies, you motherfucker. And now you're going to sit there and talk about integrity and truth and honesty and being so appalled and offended that you have to cut off Trump to correct him? I didn't see you correcting Rumsfeld or Bush, you motherfucker. Look at these pieces of shit. And Brian Williams, the other hack that I showed you before, fucking lying in Iraq. Oh, we got shot at. Huge lie. He got fired because of it, because it came out years later he was lying about being shot at while he was in a helicopter covering the war in Baghdad, in Iraq. Unbelievable. Oh, I cannot stand these people. They are one in the same with the national security state, with the military industrial complex. They're mouthpieces. These are not journalists. They're scum. You know, if you're going to cut off Trump and correct him, at least show us that you're going to apply the same standard to shit that is a million fucking times worse. All right, for a war that is still happening right now, that has killed 1 million Iraqis, displaced even more. You don't have any problem with that, motherfuckers. And then they talk about democracy and a free media in the West. My ass. Spread some of the love. What the fuck? I'm so disgusted. I'm so disgusted with these people. I really am. Not a single one of them. Okay, same with Wolf Blitzer. All of these people on every network, right? Because they're jumping back and forth. Before Shepard Smith, he's on Fox News. Now he's on CNBC. Yeah. And then Brian Williams, all of them. Have any of them apologized for their bullshit? Have any of them come out and corrected their lies? Have any of them resigned? Did any of them protest at the time? Did any of them do their fucking jobs? And you can see that also in the White House, in the press, what's the name of the goddamn press room? The briefing room. God, mine is blanking. You saw during the last couple of briefings that Trump gave, all of a sudden, all these journalists, hands flying up. Mr. President. Oh, now they want to hold him accountable. Oh, now you want to hold him accountable. Oh, okay. Now you want to scrutinize him. Now you care about the lying. Oh, okay. You didn't care about him lying about, this fake gas attack in Syria. No, you didn't care about him lying about killing Soleimani and then saying he's the biggest terrorist in the world when he was actually fighting ISIS, which the United States helped create. No. You didn't call him out when he was lying about this peace deal that he just signed with these Arab kingdoms in the Persian Gulf, screwing over Palestinians. No, you don't hold him accountable for any of that. Assholes. That's it. That's the segment, man. All of them, they're so full of crap. They're all full of crap. Every single network, every single. Neil, thank you for the super chat. Says fuck Trump, fuck Bush. Bush did stop SARS, both terrible. I'm. Have you guys seen what's happening in Nigeria, by the way? Give me a second. I'm just losing it. I'm really angry, man. I'm really angry because these people, they are like, they're disgusting. The people in the media, they're just like the politicians. They whitewash their records. They grift. They manage to, slither from one administration to the next, from one regime to the next, from one war to the next, and no one holds them accountable or calls them out ever. And, it's just, even with Brian Williams, like that guy, he got chastised because he lied about getting shot at. Why aren't you chastising him for glorifying the fucking war in the first place? I don't care if he was shot at or not. That's not the issue here. Okay? I mean, great. Yeah, you got journalists that go and cover conflicts that are in deployment with the forces. But that guy was not interested in showing war crimes and exposing what U.S. and coalition forces were doing in Iraq. He was there to cheer them on and sell them to you and sell the war to you and painted in a positive light. Paint a fucking invasion and mass murder in a positive light. That was his job. That's what those people do. They're not being deployed with the troops and risking their lives to do anything honorable and bring you the facts. Oh, man. I think we got another, yes, we got another donation from Mona. Thank you, Mona, so much. Number 5 was a dude in the stream saying, me was begging for money because I was dropping links in the chat. He was saying we were using cult tactics. What are you talking about, man? Even though I told him you don't put your content behind a paywall. Anyway, my theory is that it was you were number 5 trying to get people to spite donate. Nah, man, I can assure you, I'm too pissed off to even deal with trolls right now. Just what does that even mean? What does that even mean? I don't know. There's a lot of trolls. That video that I posted yesterday. The rant about Biden, it really blew up, and I'm glad, not because just because it blew up, but I'm hoping it woke some people up, because the more people see it, maybe they're going to realize the next 4 years are not going to be peaches and roses and peaches, roses and milk, whatever, anything positive. It's not going to be nice. Do you understand? Because we saw this coming, we see it coming, and we've seen this before. Isn't it like, just step back a second here and just look at the situation that you have a tiny pool of ghouls and monsters and villains and scandalous bitches that just rotate in government, right? And it's like you got motherfuckers that have been there for 50 years suddenly becoming president after committing unspeakable atrocities. What the fuck? You got 320 million people in that country, in the US. Why does it have to be from this pool of people, this group of individuals, these corrupt bastards? Unreal. Peaches and cream. Anyway. The new episode that I filmed for television is out, so please go watch it if you haven't. They repeat the broadcast several times on Press TV. You can also watch it online, okay? So you can stream it online anytime you like. Just go to presstv.com. You'll see at the top shows and the communique with Richard Medhurst. So this is, again, man, I told you this. I really... Fuck Biden, man. I finished my report, and then the results are out. And I'm like, well, God damn it, I can't just leave it. I got to go and fix this now. And, at the last second, because I did think it was going to be drawn out for a while. And, thankfully, everything's okay. But definitely go watch it. I had a bunch of amazing guests on, and I hope, finally, won't have to do any more election-specific coverage for the time being, because the next one is going to be about Assange. I'm really, really, really hyped for you guys to see that one as well. I think, if I may say so, I think it's the most comprehensive video report about the extradition hearing. Like, I really had to... It's tough trying to pack everything into such a concise package. There's so much that happened. There's so many legal plot holes, just, hypocrisy, corruption, just wrongdoing. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I really tried my best to do that. And the guests were also amazing on that one. And so, yeah, that's going to come out soon. But definitely go check out the latest episode, and I'll post a link right here for you. So remember, they banned him on YouTube, huh? I'm technically... Hold on, let me just get this link right first. Let me get this link right. Anyway, here we go. So And there's a lot of hypocrisy here again, because I want to point out to you something that, you know, when it comes to social media interference, like they've been saying is such a overwhelming threat since 2016, right? Oh, the Russians are meddling via social media. A couple of memes cost Hillary the election. Shut the fuck up. How insulting. Like, people didn't know she was corrupt. Man, she's so bad that a clown beat her. Like, anyway, the point is that it's funny how just during the last couple of weeks, you saw Twitter and Facebook, Silicon Valley, repressing this story about Hunter Biden to help, you know, the Biden camp. And when you had social media being used to influence the outcome of elections in other countries, like Iran, for example, in 2009, right? Or during the Arab Spring. Now, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's not the point here. The point is they didn't do anything about it, right? Twitter, Facebook, they just let people use their websites for political purposes, right? To topple their governments, to undertake a revolution, to talk about fraud. And now you look at what they're doing in the US, they're labeling Trump's tweets when he talks about fraud. It doesn't matter if you agree or not with Trump. The point is that you're seeing a clear double standard where these social media companies are more than happy to be used as a vehicle to influence the outcome of elections, to influence politics in other countries when it's beneficial for the United States and their imperialist projects. But then they don't, you know, they have a whole other agenda at home. And it's not just that. There's a specific collusion there, I dare say. God, that word, it's become a trigger word now because of Russiagate. The US government specifically told Twitter not to shut down for maintenance back in 2009 so that people in Iran, the opposition, could continue using it to, you know, further dissent against the government. Again, it doesn't matter who you agree with here. I'm just showing you that these social media companies, Silicon Valley, they're used to manipulate politics in other countries. Now, to which degree, to which extent, it's not the point here. It's the double standard. It's the hypocrisy. And that needs to be underscored. That needs to be underlined. Okay? Because they want to make you think that, oh, we're all about facts and the truth and, you know, transparency and fairness. No, the fuck you ain't. Masher says, is it all work with Richie? More or less, yes. Smash Dragon, thank you for the super chat, says, what are your favorite documentaries that you watched? Shit, man, we got a bunch. Favorite ones? I mean, I just mentioned, it's not one of my favorites, but it's very recent. It came out 2-3 months ago, Once Upon a Time in Iraq. Again, you still got some propaganda in there, like, oh, there were so many Iraqis cheering on the invasion beforehand, and then they found out it was bad. No, most people did not want to be fucking invaded. That's a given. But it is eye-opening, and compared to what most people are used to, they don't know anything about the atrocities committed in Iraq. That's a 5-part from the BBC. Again, not my favorite, but it just came to mind because we were talking about it now. 0 Days, I think, is a good one. This is about this Stuxnet virus that the Mossad and CIA engineered to cripple Iran's nuclear program. So that's another thing they don't tell you about the Iran nuclear deal. You know, they basically forced Iran to the negotiation table. I mean, obviously through various means, but this is one of them. They crippled their centrifuges with a virus that was extremely, was ingenious from a technical point of view. So 0 Days, you should definitely go watch that. And you don't have to be like super literate in tech to understand it. It's very, it's quite well explained. And I'm just trying to think. Hold on a second. You know, if this is in, I think it's been translated in English, but it's originally in French. It's a World War II documentary series. It's called Apocalypse. And I've only seen it in French. It might be translated in English though, but it's all in color. I think it's extremely well put together, and definitely worth a watch. And I think you'll find it on YouTube. It's quite long. That's an excellent series. What else is there, man? I know a shit ton. I'm just blanking right now. If you want to look at also, someone brought this up the other day. Again, I don't want to put on my tinfoil hat here, and I'm not saying that you should either. But if you do happen to have a tinfoil hat on, you might want to check out Loose Change 2. I don't know. Everyone draws their own conclusions from that one. You know, it's about 9/11. That's a one that's not often talked about. What is going on in the comments over here? Everybody talking about big dick cult. Y'all need to behave. Another good one. The Corporation, I think, is the name. That was one that I watched when I was like 11 or 12. The Corporation. I have it somewhere on DVD. I went back and watched it not long ago. Really good stuff, man. Again, another eye-opening one. And when it comes to Michael Moore and his documentaries, do you guys remember Fahrenheit 9/11 when that came out? Man, that was like, oh my God, he's so critical of Bush. Oh, it's so brilliant. I mean, for the time, that was like the most controversial thing, right? That was the most controversial anti-Bush thing. Moore coming out and saying you should vote for Biden. I mean, oh God. I mean, I don't know, dude. He's done some other good ones, but yeah, I mean, that just popped into my mind because that was for me as a kid. How old was I? 12, 13 back then? You know, I was seeing footage from the Iraq War. I was seeing, this stuff that was not shown on CNN, right? You had this one part where they crushed a taxi driver's car, I think, with a tank just to punish him, and they destroyed his livelihood, right? Again, not one of the most significant atrocities committed in the Iraq War, but definitely you wouldn't see that on television, right? So, yeah, that's just one thing that popped into mind. Hold on, I'm trying to think. And of course, I mean, there are other ones that Moore has made, which are about other topics, but, yeah, I'm blanking on a bunch of stuff right now, for sure. Yes, back to reality. Thank you for the super chat. Adriana says, I'm donating because I'm part of your cult. Oh, shit. We got to be careful, man. You can't be calling it what you were just writing in the comments. It's not big dick cult. I didn't accept that. Y'all gonna have to find a better name than that. I'm reading your comments. Neil says, is Richard ever not sleep deprived? I don't know. I'm too tired to answer the question. Colin Habibi says, you need to announce when your show is live. Which show? On television or this one here? Because I thought I already did. I didn't give you guys a schedule? I thought I read it out to you guys last time. Okay, I'm just going to post it like in text form so people can see it. Okay? But thank you for reminding me. I really appreciate it. Yari says, I'm an instructor and showed my students your Press TV election episode and had them do a reflection assignment on it. They loved it. Keep preaching, man. Thank you. Damn. That's really humbling. Thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. I remember when I was in I can't remember which class this was. Also like eons ago. They also made us like analyze the CNN segment, and I was like, CNN is propaganda. And she was like, okay. She didn't like what I had to say. But thank you, Yadi. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Smash Dragon says, Untold History of the U.S. by Oliver Stone is very good. Yes. Jarrett says, silver lining of the Biden win, the liberal media, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, can go back to failing. They're nothing without Trump. Yep. They lost their cash cow, and I mean, I'm sure they'll promptly find a new one, but, you know, it's... they really suck. And as Jimmy Dore says, thank you for leaving the lane wide open. MNC, there's no note, but I really appreciate the donation. Thank you. And Mona says, shut your face. It's the BDC because you got BDE. What? BDE? Biden? Is that something to do with Biden? Oh, Big Dig Energy. I got it. Mona. See, she's so sweet. She can't stop complimenting. Okay, my mouse is dead. This is not good. My mouse just died. Give me a second, y'all. My mouse just died. And we're back. You know, being Neil saying the Americans finally got Richard. Shit, man. And drone strike my ass. Yo, but seriously, I'm not kidding, man. I do not trust these big tech companies. For the love of God, sign up for the newsletter so we got a backup plan, a contingency. And, you know, since number 5 wants to flex on me and say that I didn't even promote the show once. And just like Mona said, I didn't put nothing behind a paywall, man. You know, it's like with music. This is, I come from a musician's background, man. You can't in the 21st century in 2020 give away your product and you know, it has to be free. It has to be free. That's the business model in music nowadays, right? It's got to be accessible to everybody. Like, unless you're already a superstar, you give your music away for free. That's the best way to promote it. If people like it, great. You know, someone can't afford it, doesn't matter. You can still consume it, download it, play it, whatever, stream it. And if someone wants to support you, even better. So I have that mindset from the music. And I mean, when you see New York Times and Washington Post, and the Guardian, they're like, oh, the press is under attack. Quick, help us. Your donation will save us. Motherfucker, you're the ones attacking the press. You are the ones that are attacking the press. You are the ones that are collaborating and colluding with the government to repress real stories, real journalism. You motherfuckers. And they got billionaire funding. They're not under any goddamn threat. They're never going to be censored. They're never going to be strapped for cash, you know. So anyway, going back to the big dick cult, please sign up for the newsletter. Again, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. I just don't trust big tech, and I'd rather build up an email list than depend on them. So here's the link, and here we go. So wonderful. And Caden says, what do you think of the SEAL Team 6 controversy, bin Laden assassination, and the money sent to Iran, the $156 billion, and the parents wanting answers? First of all, thank you for the super chat. So what was the name of that movie again? When Zero Dark 30, right? Wasn't that the name of the film where they go and kill bin Laden? So, I mean, that was a propaganda piece from top to bottom, man. And you know what's really messed up about that? And Andy Worthington, who I interviewed for the Assange episode, again, that guy, he's the shit. He's the top dog when it comes to Guantanamo Bay. He knows everything. All right, he worked with WikiLeaks on the Guantanamo Bay files, and I can't remember where he was giving the speech, but he said that movie was once again a propaganda piece to try and validate and make Americans and the general public accept torture, because in the film they show you like, oh look, we tortured these guys and that's how we got bin Laden's location. No, the fuck, that did not happen. That's not. Moreover, it makes people acquiesce to the fact that you have torture going on in secret at black sites, right? Like they show you in the movie in general, and also about what's happening in Guantanamo Bay, right? So that was a huge propaganda piece. And once again, it's not even factually correct. It's just nonsense. That's how they got him. So, and the 156 billion, I'm assuming you're talking about when Biden and Obama gave all this cash to Iran after the nuclear deal? Is that what you're referring to? I'm just going to Google it to make sure, because that's a very specific sum. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you hear Trump always talk about this. Oh, they're terrible. They gave them all this money. Dude, when you freeze someone's assets, right? When you steal their shit, that's a nice diplomatic way of saying we're stealing your shit, right? Part of sanctions, they freeze your assets. They didn't just give them the money. It wasn't like, oh, here's a pile of cash. No, it was part of the agreement. I mean, I really don't understand how this is a controversial thing. So if they stole the money and then gave it back. What's controversial about that? Like, you have to understand something. They should have given it back even without a nuclear deal. Why? Because they fucking stole it. You know? I think that's a given. But of course, the media and war hawks and, they have ways of spinning things. So there you go. Carlos, thank you for the donation. Says, what's going to happen with China trade war under Sleepy Joe? Cheers from El Salvador. 1 second. So look, man, when it comes to China, as Trump likes to say, I don't think that, well, look, man, I mean, the irony here again of, socialism for the rich, rugged individualism for the poor, right? How many billions did Trump give farmers? Now, hey, if they need it, they need it. But, you caused that shit. And this new Cold War with China, okay, he tried to sell it, Trump. He tried to sell it as, oh, look, we're going to make them pay. The Chinese, they've been screwing us over. We're going to make them pay. And we're going to make them pay so hard. No, the fuck, that's not how it works, you idiot. The Americans, the consumers are going to be paying the price hike. Moreover, I need to dispel this myth. You always hear this myth that, oh, China is stealing IP, intellectual property. They're stealing, trade secrets and doing economic espionage, industrial espionage. That's not how this works, man. That's not how this works, okay? When, okay, that's the wrong scene over here. What's going on? When the United States, okay, and all these Western countries, when they went and exported their manufacturing and industry to China for cheap labor, the trade-off of that was that, okay, not just China, but the working class in all these countries are going to give you cheap labor in exchange for the know-how, for the IP. And now, because China is overtaking and making huge leaps, I mean, in a plethora of domains, right? they're trying to say that, oh, they're cheating. This is not fair competition. They're bad faith actors. We have to punish them. What a miserable attempt to try and, by the Trump administration. And that's what's not Trump. You hear that all the time from idiots. And when it comes to Biden, man, I mean, again, he tries to tout himself as some kind of statesman and dignified diplomat. And, I know how to deal with foreign leaders. I'm going to repair our relations. Motherfucker. After what Trump did, okay, not just Trump, but, it's been a few decades in the making, all right? Other countries are not as willing. They're not as excited. They're not in dire need to, submit themselves to the U.S., to be in some kind of subservient position and compromise. I do think after what Trump did and just in general how things are going, U.S. hegemony is definitely fractured. Not entirely, not completely, but it's starting to fracture. You're seeing a shift. China, Iran, Russia, man. There's when I had Ben Norton on just a few months ago when we were talking about, we talked about everything. That's what I love. But when we talk about China, they're selling all of their bonds. They're real competitors. And I'm not just talking about, with their military. I'm talking in general. And the funny thing is you constantly hear people say, oh, look, these countries, they're so authoritarian and repressive. Dude, they've pulled more people out of poverty in the last decades than the U.S. has done. You haven't had a minimum wage increase in the last, you had more purchasing power in 1968 than you do now in America. Think about that for a second. You're in 1968, you can buy more shit with your money than you can now. How is that possible? When productivity, when worker output has increased exponentially, but the wages don't go up to reflect that and reflect also inflation. So meanwhile, the working class is being screwed over in the West, right? Over there, man, they've understood that, okay, we can't depend on the U.S. anymore because every couple of years you have these boom bust cycles. Everything goes to shit. That hurts us because, their manufacturing is taking place over here. And, this Belt and Road Initiative that you're seeing now, man, it's scaring the shit out of them. Don't you see Mike Pompeo going around all these countries? I mean, okay, it's not just because of that, but, trying to get countries not to participate in Nord Stream 2, this gas pipeline from Russia, trying to get countries not to engage with Huawei or use any Chinese products. They're scared, man. All right. And this whole fiasco with TikTok, we're going to shut it down unless you sell it to an American company. They're fucking scared, right? You're seeing a shift here. And it's not going to be from one day to the next, obviously. But, when Biden comes in, man, I don't know what he's going to do about this trade war specifically. But my point is most countries are realizing that they don't need the United States anymore. The United States is not in the same kind of position of power they were when they just won the Cold War, in 91, 92, when we're at the peak of U.S. hegemony. Although, can you really say the Cold War is over? All right. We'll go with the history books. So, you still have the same antagonism, but I mean, it's not the same as in 91, 92. And they can't get away with the same shit that they've been doing. Just one minor example. I'll just give you one minor example. Look at the UN Security Council a few weeks ago. Mike Pompeo comes in and he tries to get everybody, all 15 members, to reimpose an arms embargo on Iran. They were like, fuck you. We're not doing it. And only the Dominican Republic supported it. So embarrassing. I mean, could you imagine that a few years ago? It just wouldn't happen. Again, it doesn't mean that the West is suddenly going to stop vilifying Iran and Syria and all these countries in the global South. But still, that's just one example among many where you're seeing a departure from, another one is Italy, for example. They signed up to this Belt and Road Initiative. Okay. Mike Pompeo's pissed, right? I was watching all these conferences he was giving in Warsaw and Poland and then in Vienna, and he was going around all these countries that surround Germany, not Germany for some reason. He was giving them the cold shoulder. And, he's talking about, we got to promote our partnerships. And, we're really disappointed that you've decided to bring Huawei into your market, and we're really disappointed, or we'd prefer if you did not participate in Nord Stream 2. They're scared, okay, and they want their poodles, because they're not really allies. The U.S. doesn't have allies; it has bitches, and yeah, they're really scared of just the empire collapsing. Although I keep reminding you, not even a century ago, less than a century ago, right? Less than a century ago. You look at that globe behind me. I always point at the wrong side. You look at that globe behind me. There we go. 1/5 of the planet, okay? Colonized by the British. Biggest empire in history. Where is it now? Never know what happens, man. But as you see empires start to crumble bit by bit, they get more and more desperate. That was a long-ass fucking answer. I hope I managed to answer it somewhat more adequately, but there you go. And, you know, just one more point, because this goes without saying. When we saw during the debates, what is that, October 22nd, with the last presidential debates, remember what Biden said? China is going to pay. Russia is going to pay. Iran is going to pay. Does that sound like someone who's interested in diplomacy to you? Pay for what? Like, you're just making up shit now that they interfered in your elections? That's the funny thing, man. These countries don't need to interfere in U.S. elections. They're already unfair. They're already rampant with voter suppression. They don't need to do shit. And nonetheless, he's lobbing these fake accusations like, oh, I'm going to make them pay. What is that? I don't call that diplomacy. That's antagonistic. That's same old, man. You know, Uncle Sam trying to put his boot down on other countries' necks. But I don't think that that's going to work for much longer. You know, China's going around trying to promote. Again, no one is saying China is perfect here. Who the fuck said that? We're talking about how they're playing on the international field. What China is doing is they're trying to build this Belt and Road Initiative. They're also going to countries like Syria, right? Lebanon. They're saying, look, we'll build your infrastructure, okay, for free. And then down the line, you'll do this for us, right? And then you always hear people saying, oh, look, China's buying up large swaths of land in Africa and elsewhere. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call that on par with what the U.S. is doing. Like, at least they're buying it. You know what I'm saying? The U.S. does not buy it. The U.S. fucking invades and kills your people and then just stays there. So, you know, if you want to compare the two, better that people are being, you know, they're engaging in a transaction instead of being fucking invaded. I think there's a big difference there. So I do think that there's more economic, more respect and trade based off of mutual respect when it comes to China than by any means with the U.S. The U.S. is a fucking bully. That's it. That's all I have to say, man. I mean, there you go. Smash Dragon, thank you for the super chat. Says books or films about decline of the middle class after World War II. Just one second. I'm sorry. I have to answer this message. So, man. Well, all the ones that I read that they made us read were in French, so I don't know if those are going to be of much relevance to you. But, you know, here's some homework for you guys. Here's a little homework. You know, you always hear about post World War II and entering the Cold War, that, you know, McCarthyism, and yes, it did play a huge part in decimating and, you know, stigmatizing socialism and all these worker movements. Very true. However, I also want you to do some homework. Go and read in its entirety the Taft-Hartley Act, okay, and tell me what you think about that shit. That's your homework. And if you want, I'll get you my reading list in French, but I don't know if it's going to be of much use to you. And, you know, I was thinking how funny is how the 3 decades after World War II, You know, in France they call them les 30 glorieuses, so the glorious 30s. Not 1930s, the 30 years following World War II. Why? Because you had all of this, you know, booming economic growth, and you know, it's like when you see those postcards or posters or illustrations from the good times, the 60s, right? The middle class happy white family that's off on a picnic, you know, and they just hide the racism from that part. You know, I was just thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, at what cost? At what cost? You know, was that really the 30 glorieuses for the 1.5 million Algerians that were fucking murdered? Really? Was it les 30 glorieuses for the colonies? You know, they spent, like, not just France, I'm talking also the UK and all these Western European countries. They spent centuries just plundering and fucking stealing and building their countries up, right? And then they're mad that people want to come to their countries, and they call them fucking migrants when they're actually refugees, and they destroy their countries. Like, they're refugees and they're fleeing wars that you created, and your countries are only developed because you stole wealth and resources from their countries. You stayed there for fucking centuries. And, you know, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here. I'm sorry. It's really just, They talk about all the good old days. Even in the US, they do this, right? All the 60s, and we had this great booming economy and everything. Yeah, at what price? At what price? Was it booming for everybody? Or are we talking just about a select, what's the word I'm looking for? Not minority, demographic. So, you know, there's always an omission of the people being oppressed. There's always an omission of who's paying the cost for that. There's always an omission of who's bearing the brunt of capitalism. They love talking about the boom. They rarely bring up the bust, right? And when there is a bust, when everything goes to shit every, 8-9 years as usual, who gets saved? Who gets the lifeboat? The rich, right? Anyway, I'm going off on a huge I'm going off on a huge tangent here. So all right, done. And thank you for reminding me. I really appreciate it, Habibi. Thank you so much. So we also got we got a super chat over here from It's so good to hear from you, Karina. I'm so glad to see you here. Thank you for that. Okay. So Ilham Aliyev, the president of Azerbaijan, used Assange's treatment in this BBC interview today to excuse Azerbaijan's human rights violations. Herein lies another danger of US and UK hypocrisy in the case of Julian. Is your phone broken or something? Not sure you received my messages. Yes, it is. I'm so glad that you got in touch with me, though. Let me check this out over here. Thank you for that. I don't know what these remarks are or if there was an interview or something, but I'm going to have to watch that. This situation with Armenia and Azerbaijan, I feel bad because I haven't covered it properly. I was in London when it was starting out covering the Assange hearing, and then I got back and I had to start filming a bunch of episodes. 1 sec. There we go. Thank you for the link, Karina. It's good to see you. And yeah, so, man, the war crimes that are being committed, and I posted about it. I didn't want to post any of the graphic stuff, but they're doing some inhumane shit to the Armenians, and it's really sad. It's really sad. I saw one man who's about in his 70s. I don't remember exactly what he said, but in his 70s, and you got to consider a lot of Armenians, they lost family in the genocide, right? Including myself, including my great grandmother's parents. So this guy, his family must have been. I mean, he's born like right after it happened, and he gets killed as well and just executed like that. That was really hard to watch. That was just harrowing. So I didn't want to cover it until I could do a full, proper. Tunsi says, Vive la Syrie et vive la Tunisie, brother. Teslamli habibi. Merci beaucoup. Man, that's what I love about talking to people from North Africa and Maghreb, especially from Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria. They all speak Arabic and French. So that's good. Unfortunately, it's a byproduct of colonialism, but it's good that we still end up being bilingual at the very least. Even in Syria, people will still say like merci, they'll say bonne nuit, they'll use these French terms. Would have been nice to have bilingualism as a product of a peaceful thing as opposed to colonialism, but it's if you look at the UK, which went around colonizing the shit out of everyone, most people don't even speak English properly to begin with, never mind other languages, right? So I feel like there's a good emphasis on learning multiple languages, but there you go. And thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Vive la Syrie. Vive la Tunisie. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Marissa says, I'd be in your cult any day than in the one with the Dems. I would hope so. Because, ain't no way you getting out of that one. Oh no. Once you lost to the New Libs, it's game over. It's game over. But we need to change the name. Okay, we need to change the name. So, guys, I really must bid you farewell. I must turn in and recuperate. I'm gonna be launching my website this week. If you go to RichardMedhurst.com, it just redirects you to YouTube. So I figured I need to get a proper website up, and I'm gonna be posting articles on there. I like to write, man. I really do. I was top of my class in English, so I want to do written articles on top of the YouTube stuff, and in addition to the YouTube stuff. So that's coming, and again, if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, please do. Thank you all for tuning in. You guys are so kind. I'm reading all of your comments. All right, I'm just going to drop the link and get ready for the next 4 years, man. It's going to be dark. Dark days. Everyone will be asleep. Everyone will be asleep. All right. I feel like I'm forgetting to say something. Oh, that's right. Fuck Donald Trump and fuck Joe Biden. Oh, God. All right, there we go, guys. I dropped the links. Thank you so much for your support. I'm so humbled and so glad that you all tuned in. And I'll see you on the Discord, okay? Join the Discord if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Take care. Be good. And ma'as salame. Bye-bye.